Cole Wright joins the show. Let's get it.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making Locked On Cubs your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below as I get emotional. Apparently about our Cole Wright interview, who joined us on the show, Sam, and we're operating a little bit of a matrix as we were able to interview Cole Wright as part of really for two shows, not really for two shows. It was for two shows that we'll share more about during the best and worst segment for Friday's episode. But we had an opportunity to take over a syndicated radio show called Sports Talk Chicago. Shout out to John Z and his producer John Meadows over there at STC. And that show is Radio Hour and the last segment's with Cole Wright. But of course, as we all know, Cole Wright is the main host at Marquee. So we wanted to have that simulcasted over here as well. And because it's the Matrix, we already did the interview, and we know it went well. Sam, how did you like interviewing Cole?
I'm getting used to this interview thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
We went from basically Mr. Mervis, Mr. Mastroboni, and a couple dabs of Lindsey Crosby.
Yes.
And that was it for a while. Then all of a sudden, back-to-back days, we come in with a couple of Marquee employees, Lance and now Cole. So I hope everybody enjoys it. I know one thing's for sure, people will enjoy me not doing much talking because people get tired of me.
Well, yeah, and I think our show has had the most listeners on live of most podcasts. But to have some guests maybe throughout this 2024 campaign is something that we may do from time to time. So, it was exciting. And without further ado, let's get to Cole Wright right after this. Today's episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV, which is your destination for sports. From live games to highlights to in-depth analysis, Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you could plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Maybe it's the opening weekend for baseball later this month or the college basketball tournaments this week. You're going to want to have a Fire TV. They also deliver a constant supply of content with Fire TV channels, which includes all of us here at Locked On, and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV lets you dive into the world of sports, not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust us on this. To learn more, visit Amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tournament, whether you're betting on a big upset or a one seed. It's time to go dancing on America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines, and more. You can even pick who's going to win it all. Right now, the favorites on the men's side are UConn, Houston, and Purdue, while in women's hoops, the favorites are South Carolina, LSU, and Iowa. Just visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. FanDuel, official partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. Here is Cole Wright. We are back here on Sports Talk Chicago and all of the network's radio and TV affiliates. And for this segment, we are also simulcasting at our usual home, Locked On Cubs, as we are pleased to be joined by Cole Wright of the Marquee Sports Network. Cole, how's it going today?
Hey, it's going excellent, man. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We really enjoy your coverage on Marquee. We're going to get into the offseason, the upcoming year, and we might even squeeze in a Bears question or two at the end. Sam, take it away.
Oh, well, Cole, it's great to have you on. I got some, there's going to be some surprises throughout this interview that might make you laugh a little bit if you have a good memory. But my first question to you, and I think I could speak to most Cub fans, is, how would you rate this offseason? High expectations, the Ohtani murmurs, all these big time guys. And how do you feel about the guys that they got? Do you think this team got better?
I think they did. I mean, I think just bringing Cody Bellinger back, first and foremost, makes this team just that much more of a threat. I don't know about you guys, but I was never team Shohei Ohtani. I mean, what it would have done marketing wise would have been fantastic. But I mean, you look at the King's ransom that he demanded, and I mean, you can get multiple players with that. And I think that's one of the things that Jed and Carter have expressed, all along during their tenure in the front office: smart spending and spending that money on one guy. I mean, obviously everybody didn't know that the deferment was coming afterwards. So I think that it was a case of, okay, let's spend X amount of dollars on Shohei Ohtani. Will it be 400 million, 500 million? Eventually it was 600 plus million. And that's currently where the Dodgers are at. And if that's an albatross that they're saddled with for decades to come, then so be it. But I just don't think that was a smart move when it came to spending. Now, when you look at the Dodgers, all the money they spent in the offseason, if they don't win, shame on them, because I mean, that's like rolling into a slingshot fight with a fully automatic weapon. I mean, if you don't win that one, you have a serious problem on your hands.
Cole, the Cubs have a real opportunity, and I always get a kick out of your analogies. The Cubs have a real opportunity to build on a season last year in which they almost made the playoffs, and there's a solid core in place. The so-called bigger names: Happ, Horner, Bellinger, Suzuki, Swanson, Morel, Steele, Hendricks, Alzolay. That's a pretty solid core on paper. What is your view of that core entering this year?
I mean, I feel good about it. I mean, anytime you look at when you look at guys like Nico, Dansby, Cody, Happer, and Seiya, that's defensively pretty doggone good. I mean, that's 4 Gold Glovers and a guy who has multiple Gold Gloves in Japan on the field at the same time. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think there's any other teams who boast that same kind of resume. I mean, I might have to go back and right now and just take a double check and look. However, when you have guys who can pick it like that, it makes the game just that much easier. When you make defensive plays and you have guys, and it gives your pitcher a sense of confidence out there too. When he knows I can make this pitch, that makes the game and the entire day that much more easy to navigate. I was talking with Albert Alzolay down in spring training, and I asked him, did you prepare this entire offseason like a closer? Because you look a little thicker this year. And he said, no, last year I was all about preparing myself as a reliever. And he said, well, if I'm going to be a reliever, I want to be a closer. And in thinking about that, I said, okay, since you're a closer, I'm like, do you think like a closer where I'd rather throw 75 pitches and get 3 strikeouts, or are you cool with 3 rollover ground balls? And he said, that's the one thing that I have carried over from being a starter. Like, I want to be economical. Like, I'll throw you in on the hands and you'll just hit a weak little chopper to Dansby and he'll shoot across the diamond and boom, just like that, there's 1 out. So I just feel like when you take a look at, the defense as far as these guys are concerned, it gives pitchers a sense of calm. And when they're able to go out there and do their job and not think, well, if I don't do the right thing with this, it's going to get smoked, through the 5-hole. No, you have Dansby there. He's the Gold Glover. 4-hole. There's Nico. Boom, you're fine. And someone puts one in the air to left, Happer's 1 back-to-back. So, and we all know what Cody Bellinger can do. So I just feel like this core right here is what this team needs. And I feel like this, and I'm not going to say, okay, because it's a winnable division. No, I think that this team really is solid and legit. And if every one of these guys has the kind of year that they've set out to have on paper, if they're looking to have the kind of season that they know they can have, a career year. I mean, I know sometimes that's a roll of the dice if every guy has a career year. But when you take a look at the clubhouse chemistry, I think that's going to be a key contributor to these guys having the best years of their career. And even if it's not the best, if it's the second best or the third best, if all those things fall into line, this could be this team could be a real force to be reckoned with.
When you have a good core group and you have good players, you need a skipper that gets the most out of them. And what was it, about November 6th, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
What was, Cole, where were you? And what was your reaction when, in my opinion, the biggest or most shocking news of the Cubs offseason was the Cubs that let go of David Ross and then hired Craig Counsell? What was your reaction to that?
Well, it's funny because I was off that day and my wife was off too. And if my wife wasn't off, chances are they probably would have called me and there would have been a ringing phone because I was awake. We were going to get something to eat. We went and got breakfast, came back, and I was watching a DVR of Price is Right, as I usually do. I mean, if you're not at work, it's just like a sick day home from school, right?
All
Price is Right is on. Let's roll. So I was watching Price is Right. My phone rang. I saw, like, who's this? It was my producer, Nick Steger from Marquee Sports Network, senior coordinating producer. And he's like, we just hired Craig Counsell. Come on, let's go. So I threw some clothes on, jumped in the shower. Not in that order. Jumped in the shower and then threw some clothes on. That would have been nuts. Yeah, I put clothes on and then jumped in the shower. Went to the Marquee Sports Network, soaking wet. No, so excuse me.
Different type of a show.
my voice is blown out because I was at my daughter's softball tournament this weekend, her first tournament of the year in Texas, and they won. Oh, by the way, they took out some of the top teams in the country. So I was doing a little bit of cheering this weekend. My voice is a little blown out. So.
Save that voice though.
No doubt. But yeah, that's what I was doing. I was watching Price is Right, got the news, went in, knocked out breaking news. It was a lot of fun.
Cole, we're talking a lot about the rotation lately, especially in light of Counsell announcing on Tuesday that Jamison Tyone is likely not going to be present that first or second time through the rotation to open up the campaign. We know about Justin Steele. We know about Kyle Hendricks. But after that, I would say there's some question marks, which isn't exactly settling. So Steele, Hendricks, and then what are you looking at right now with the rotation?
There's some of the younger guys. I mean, when you take a look at Jamison Tyone and what he would bring to the table, you look at his second half last year, and I mean, it was pretty good. He was one of the better pitchers in all of baseball, and I just feel like right now it's kind of a work in progress. I mean, if you're Craig Counsell, you go and you look and see all these young guys who have pitched well, and if you can put them all in one category and put the other ones in another and say, oh, all right, these guys have earned their keep. These are the guys that I want to roll with. These are the guys that have earned their spot in that rotation, because it's still a work in progress. It's not going to be what it looks to be until maybe middle of April, maybe mid-May, if things go as planned. And that's the thing. Are they still going to pick someone up? I know Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell are still out there. Who knows what the Scott Boras market is right now? I think the one good thing is that Jed and Carter have just dealt with Scott Boras recently. Scott Boras was just at Sloan Park 2.5 weeks ago dealing with Cody Bellinger. And I thought maybe something could materialize from that. Not necessarily, but I think the whole rotation, it's just a work in progress, whether it's, Javier Assad, Hayden Wisniewski, some of the younger guys that need to work out some of those kinks, Jordan Wicks, it's all dependent on who's the hot hand at that time. And I feel like whether it's the fourth or fifth starter, or if it's a 6-man rotation with Shota Imanaga, I feel like it's whoever's earned their keep for that day. If a guy has a bad start, okay, then maybe you don't give him that next start. And maybe if it doesn't go to Hayden Wisniewski, maybe it goes to Javier Assad. Maybe if it doesn't go to Javier Assad, then it goes to Jordan Wicks. But I'm not Craig Counsell. I'm not in charge of putting together the starting rotation or the bullpen or deciding who the closer is. So, he's going to have his work cut out for him. I feel like it sounds so cliche to say it's a marathon, not a sprint, but that's exactly what it is. So, if they can just stay steady out of the blocks while they're looking to get some semblance of a rotation together, I think they'll be all right.
We talk about Craig Counsell And, last year, the Cubs, especially up the middle with Dansby and Nico, they really stressed, run prevention and turning ground balls into outs. And I've been having trouble. And one of the main topics on our show recently has been this Christopher Morel third base thing. Yeah. Because we obviously have his bat needs to be in the lineup every day. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that at this point.
Yep.
But I'm a little bit concerned as you flip your hat around. I'm a little bit concerned.
I got to represent for a segment, just a little bit.
I'm a little bit concerned about Morel because to me right now, mechanically, I don't see it defensively at third. And I'm concerned early in the season that might hurt the Cubs and cost us some games. Where are you at with the Morel third base experiment?
I think it's the Alfonso Soriano effect, like Sean Marshall says. If he can drive in more than he lets up, that's fine with me. I mean, third base is not easy. And when you if you could say, name me 7 fantastic third basemen, take you out to lunch, because there's really not 7 extra solid third basemen in the league. So if you can give up a little bit of defense for a little extra pop, I mean, what did Mo Money have last year? 26 pumps or 25?
Yeah.
It was 26 or 25.
He was 26.
26, yeah. 26 home runs, and he wasn't even in the lineup on a consistent basis. If he can do that more consistently, and don't worry, you're going to get your 4 cuts every game. You're fine. You're going to get 155 games with 4 at-bats every game. Sometimes 5, sometimes 3. Sometimes you're going to get 6 at-bats if we're blowing cats out. So I feel like if he can string those positive at-bats and some of that momentum into him staying consistent in the batter's box, and I feel like just a shortened up approach. Like, I love Christopher Morel's pop. I also love the fact that he's one of the best athletes on the field at all times. So if he says, okay, I get 2 swings for Chris, two swings are for him. Yeah, I mean, if you want to hit one, all the way to Gray's Lake, go for it. Pump one out there. The first 2 swings, those are for you. That third swing is for the team. Shorten up just a little bit. Think I'm going right field no matter what. And every once in a while, you're going to catch one out front. And I just feel like that approach, and it sounds so easy from me sitting right here in my chair when a dude's not throwing 98-mile-an-hour tablets. But I feel like Christopher Morel is that kind of dude, man. Like, he puts in the work, and he's sneaky big. I don't know if you guys have seen him in person or have ever been around him. He's every bit of 6'1" and 215 pounds, man. So he's no joke. And I feel like this year with the consistency that's going to be able to be saddled around his neck, I feel like he's going to be a special guy, and he's going to be fun to watch this season.
This is definitely an off-season content type question, but I do think the listeners get into it. They are curious about it. We asked Lance this for Wednesday's show. He said Daniel Palencia. Cole, you were at Sloan a couple weeks ago and know the Cubs org well. Who is one under the radar name we should keep an eye on this year?
You know what? I like where Lance's head is at with Daniel Palencia, because I talked with him as well. And he said I asked him, I said, how you feeling, man? He said, feeling good. And I heard that day or even the day before, he was 99, 100. I said, you hitting triple digits already? He's like, yeah, I'm feeling good. And one thing, if you look at him, he's more trim. I mean, before he was kind of straight up and down. Now my man's got a waist. And it looks like he put in some serious work. And if that's the case, and he's out there throwing pellets like that, he will be a problem. But my guy that I'm looking at also throws Ched. It's Julian Merriweather. Mm-hmm. And I was talking with Dustin Kelly, and I'm not sitting here trying to name drop, but I feel like if Cubs fans are out there and they want to hear things somewhat straight from the source, what better place to go than right here? But I was talking with Dustin Kelly, and I told him, I said, man, Merriweather just got done throwing live BP. And he was like, well, was he out there throwing rockets? And I was like, yes, he was. And it was a case of towards the back end of the season, I feel like maybe his arm got a little bit tired. So, I mean, and that'll happen when you throw triple digits with regularity. But I feel as if he was going heavy slide piece. I mean, there'd be sequences to hitters where, I mean, he'd throw a 9-pitch at bat, and 7 of those 9 pitches would be sliders, off-speed pitches, trying to trick guys. And there's nothing better than a precisely placed fastball. When you throw 100, 101, I mean, you see the way the guys swing these days. And I mean, maybe I'm just the old guy in the barbershop or the old dude in the club with the fanny pack and turtleneck on looking like The Rock. But you cannot swing under elevated fastballs. That's what you have to get on top of that fastball. Carlos Pena, when he comes on the shows with us, he always talks about hunting that fastball from the top down, going and getting that top hand to it. And when you're throwing 101, that's hard to do. Now, guys can time fastballs up because we know major league hitters, they can time up a bullet. And we saw it the other day, Paul Skeens, he got taken for a ride throwing 173. So anyone can time that up. But Julian Merriweather, I feel as if, excuse me, if he's able to pinpoint that fastball this season and then be able to wipe cats out with that slide piece, he's going to be a problem, man. Because like I said, and this is where Lance and I have a little bit of a differing opinion, because when it comes to Merriweather's numbers last year, it says that he gives up so much slug on his fastball. And it's like, he says, well, he can't locate the fastball. I'm like, okay, well, maybe we have some more bullpens where it's a predominant fastball. Learn to spot that. And once again, I'm not Tommy Hotovy. So it's easier said than done. If a guy can't locate with that, and maybe take a few miles an hour off. I mean, we've seen guys that throw gas that said, maybe instead of throwing 101, how about I throw 98, 97 on you? And then we can pinpoint a little bit more. And that fastball that's on the corner that you can place and spot, that makes that slider look just that much more devastating. So Julian Merriweather, that's my guy.
Before I ask my next question, I think it is our responsibility, especially with a professional joining us, Matt, that I have to break some breaking news.
Whoa.
Down south, the White Sox have traded Dylan Cease to
Lil Cease.
San Diego Padres.
What?
Yeah, that just broke.
What a weird landing spot.
Terrible.
Yeah, according to Jeff Passan. So,
wow.
Any instant reaction, or should we move on?
I mean, not for nothing, but
yeah.
I mean, they had an absolute wrecking crew last year and did nothing on that team.
No kidding.
Nothing.
And
them and the Mets.
No shade on Bob Melvin, but Bob Melvin has a team of all-stars, can't compete, loses his job, and then not necessarily did Bob Melvin? He was still the skipper.
He left as a free agent, technically.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you didn't do anything with a murderer's row, so let's give you a job on another team. Like, what?
Yeah,
it makes no sense to me, man.
And the White Sox didn't have a great campaign.
Well, I hope they got a haul, because the Padres, I would have never expected that.
Yeah, and they didn't report that. But Matt, I'm going to ask the question that I've been waiting to ask the entire time. Cole, you do the post game. There's a lot of games, so if you don't remember this, please don't think I'm offended. But I think you're gonna. It was June, and it was in Pittsburgh, and this tweet you pulled up on the show. It reads, if Tucker Barnhart hits a homer today, I will give anyone who retweets this 2 Cubs tickets to a game of your choice.
Okay.
Do you remember that was the day that Tucker Barnhart hit a home run?
Bridge City. I feel like I do remember that.
And you guys...
I think I said that you were on the hook for that, right?
Yeah, it was me. That was me.
Did anyone retweet it?
Oh, it was... it went very viral, Mr. Wright. And I just want to say...
are you trying to see if I can help you get some tickets? Or
No, that's not what I'm saying. You actually defended me. You actually saved me.
Because it was on the Marquee air.
Yeah, you said...
only the first person that retweeted it.
That's what I meant, and it was a typo. And so you read my Twitter, and actually, whatever you did, you actually saved me. So I ended up getting 6 people tickets for it, but I just thought it was really one of the funnier moments.
Correct?
No, these were good seats. I work hard.
Nice.
But
who was I on the show with that night? Was it
Sean Marshall?
Oh, Marshy. Okay. Nice,
and
nice.
Sean made a comment that said, "Boy, I hope that Sam over. I hope he's got a lot." He's made a money comment.
Nice.
But
Marshy's always good for the one-liners.
It was really funny, and it was just I wasn't trying to be a smart aleck. That's what I was trying to get across. We were doing a giveaway for the show, and that's what happened. Matt, take it away.
Hey, drums up publicity, man. What more can you ask for? There you go.
Hey, content is content sometimes.
Absolutely.
Let's close this thing down right after this. Today's episode is also brought to you by our wonderful partner at Prize Picks. They're going to be with us on Locked On Cubs all season long. And whether it's tournament season or the fight for playoff home court, there's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments this time of year. That's absolutely true. Plus, baseball season is right around the corner. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your sports knowledge into serious cash. Prize Picks is really simple to play, with your entries taking less than 60 seconds to submit, turning $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps of your screen. Right now, the Prize Picks board for the MLB season has plenty of players and stats to choose more or less on. And that is the idea. You go to the app, you go to today's board, and you pick more or less on a bunch of players and a bunch of stats. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's a first deposit match up to $100 by using code LOCKEDONMLB. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. We're back here on Locked On Cubs, and we're going to wrap it up. Cole Wright interview was basically the show, Sam. On Friday, we're going to talk about Craig Counsell trying out some versatility the last couple of weeks. If y'all notice, Seiya Suzuki has gotten multiple games in left field. Let's do an opening day roster update. Does Garrett Cooper have a chance? Does Dom Smith have a chance? David Peralta is alive and well. Does he have a chance? And then, of course, best and worst of the week. Anything else?
My Wi-Fi symbol's up.
Well, you're coming in clear. Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. I think that's the show. You give us 20 to 30 minutes, and we'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube, smash the like button for the algorithm, and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. My goodness. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
Go Cubs.